So my friend Charlie Morgan is making over $1 million every single month, and he just gave me the blueprint on exactly how to do that. And it includes everything from how to sign clients, how to deliver results for these clients, how to optimize your personal life, optimizing your focus, optimizing your productivity, every single thing that you would need step by step in order to get there, he shared with me. And what I want to do in this video is share these lessons with you as well. Now, I'm not going to share every single thing because this would take over 50 hours, and just in respect to him, people are paying him tens of thousands of dollars to get this information. But I'm going to share the key pieces that you would need to know that will give you the highest returns with the shortest amount of time. So I'll be walking through what I've learned from working directly with Charlie for the last 2 years so that you can implement it within the next 10 to 20 minutes. So I want to start by giving you some context as to how I ended up working with Charlie, how we became friends, and how obviously he gave me the blueprint right now. So I'd say around 2 years ago, I joined Charlie's program. This is called Imperium Agency at the time. And what they did was they helped agency owners to scale their businesses through acquisition systems, through service delivery, and through, working with your mindset as well. And during this time, I had a lot of coaching calls with Charlie directly. And by doing this, I actually got from zero to my first 20K per month within under, I'd say around 6 months of joining the program. And because of this, I was one of the fastest growing students in the program. And because of this, I stayed in contact with Charlie. We ended up speaking very often. I ended up even building some of the modules in Easy Grow right now. And we just ended up becoming very good friends. So pretty recently, I was scaling my agency. We were at around 50, 60K per month. And I got on a coaching call with him because I wanted to ask him, what are the next steps to actually scaling up? Right, we're getting to around 50K, but it's getting very messy, right? There's a lot of things happening all the time. It's getting very complicated. The operations are getting more complicated, honestly. So I was asking him on the call, what are the next steps? What should I do to get to the 100, 150K per month? And basically what he told me was, you need to transition out of the model. And for some context, on this call, there were probably around 20 to 50 other agency owners, but most of them were still very early on. A lot of beginners, a lot of people asking some very basic questions like, oh, how do I send outreach messages? Where do I find leads? Things like this. And I was joining the call as someone who was pretty experienced in the space already. So what he said was, he's going to work with me. He's going to give me some specific resources to actually scale up a lot faster. And this is what I'm going to share in this video with you now. So the first lesson that I learned from Charlie in order to go from zero to $1 million per month is that there aren't any business problems. There's only personal problems reflecting in the business. Now, I first heard this lesson from Sam Ovens a while ago. And basically what it means is that the thing that's going to stop your business's growth, the thing that's going to cap your revenue, that's going to make you plateau isn't actually, not knowing business tactics, not having specific sales script, not having certain business things. It's actually going to be the personal aspects of your life that's going to be holding you back. And I'll give you some examples in a minute. So there's two main areas that this actually reflects in. The first is the environment, and second is the mindset. So to give you some context, when I was first starting the business, when I was making around 10 to 20K per month, this was at a time where I was extremely involved in the service delivery. I was involved in everything actually. So I was running the agency. This was the lead generation agency, helping other businesses to get more leads, sign more clients. And because I was at this 10 to 20K a month, this is where most agency owners, they get so stuck, right? They get so stuck in the business in the sense that I was involved in service delivery, I was involved in booking meetings, I was involved in sales, I was doing all of it myself. So because of it, my attention was completely scattered between 10,000 things, right? If a client had an issue, they messaged me. If a prospect had an issue or they wanted to sign up, they messaged me. All of it was just tied to me. And because of it, I had no time. So let's say hypothetically, I was spending 6 hours per day on solving these issues, from booking meetings to signing clients to actually delivering results. I was spending 6 hours. But in terms of my personal life, I was spending, let's say, an hour per day on lunch, hour per day on dinner, hour per day on breakfast. And I was cooking all these meals myself. So let's say in total, just food, just eating, which I did every day, just eating would take around 2 hours per day. So because of it, I was spending 6 hours on business and 2 hours on cooking, right? And the problem is cooking isn't making you money. Cooking didn't bring in revenue and cooking didn't deliver results for my clients. So essentially it is an extremely low ROI task, right? It didn't bring any actual value to the business. So by just me getting out of cooking, deciding, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to order Uber Eats every single day so that I don't have to cook. There's no time involved. There's no cleaning. There's no nothing. And it would cost me around $5 to $10 per meal. In doing that, I saved an extra 2 hours to an extra 90 minutes per day to work on the business, to get better results. And in this time, what I did was, instead of cooking, I would just obviously Uber Eats the meals. I would just order like some chicken or some steak. It was very easy to do. And in that time, I would use it to potentially hire new people, potentially build systems so that I could actually get out of these tasks and then scale to 30, 40, 50K per month. So By not spending time on personal issues, it freed up time for the business. And now, compared to someone who cooks, I had more hours in a day. So this is an advantage on my side. And this applies the same with things like laundry, cleaning. Like I hired a cleaner to come once or twice per week, every single week. Actually getting your hair cut. I got someone to come here to cut my hair. All of these things I don't do anymore. And I didn't do it at the time. And this is what allowed me to step out of these tasks, save a ton of time, and then grow the business from that. Now, going back to the lesson, the second place where you don't have any business problems, just personal problems reflecting in it, the second place that it actually shows up is in your mindset. So people say mindset like it's some very, wishy-washy, in the air type of thing. But simply put, I would just define mindset as the way you think about situations, the way you perceive the world. So if, let's say, you're extremely insecure, right? Or you hate talking to people, imagine how this is going to reflect in a business where you have to talk to people, right? And I can speak for myself in that when I first started the agency, I was so shy, like extremely introverted, extremely, no social skills, nothing. So when I would have a sales call, let's say at 3 p.m., I would wake up that morning with the most anxiety in my chest ever. Like I would dread having the sales call. I would be 5 minutes before a sales call, hoping that the person cancels so that I can say, okay, it wasn't, the call got canceled, it's fine, it's not my fault. So I hated it. I hated talking to people on the phone. I was so nervous. I didn't want to do any of it. So because of that, as you can imagine, compare that to someone who actually likes speaking to people. Compare that to someone who likes sales, who likes people. And as you can imagine, this is a personal problem reflecting in the business. So how did I actually get rid of that? I just ended up taking a lot of calls. I did a lot of mindset work. This is stuff we talk about in our program right now. But just things to actually allow you to build that confidence, have a process, and just do it in a way where it doesn't feel like it's salesy, all these other things. But that's a side note. The key point is by removing personal problems, by removing insecurities, limiting beliefs, ways of thinking about the world, different biases towards people or hiring, whatever. By removing all these things, you're going to progress faster in business because most of the time, you're not limited by a business problem. You could just search, for example, how to send cold emails. You could just watch a couple of my videos, but people still don't implement it. I literally tell people how to get clients, but they still don't do it. So that means it's not a business problem, it's a personal problem. So you have to identify what that is, and then once you solve it, your business is going to grow exponentially. So this is a very big thing that I learned from Charlie in the sense that he spends so much of his time or so much of his energy optimizing his environment and his mindset in the sense that, it's extremely difficult to get in contact with the guy. I don't think he checks his phone till like the afternoon or the evening. And he just sets his life up in a way where it's extremely routinized in the sense that he has every single event from waking up at around 7 a.m. to around sleeping at 10 p.m. Every single thing is mapped out in his calendar. There's no blank space, right? The guy has a performance coach. The guy has other coaches. He has everything dialed in. And by doing that, it's what's allowing him to scale so rapidly because everything else is taken care of. And then it's just solving some pretty simple business things. Now, the second lesson is that you can't scale a done-for-you agency, right? And the way that I learned this lesson is when I was on the coaching call with Charlie and I was asking him, look, how can I scale my done-for-you agency to 100K, to 150K, right? I had these massive goals of getting to 200, 300K with the agency, as most people do. Like I really wanted to scale. Like he would even say on these calls, like, look, if you scale this much, you're going to have so much, problems in your life. It's going to be so difficult. It's going to be a ton of stress. I was like, I want that. Like, just tell me how to do it. And then what he told me was, you can't scale the done for you. Because if you were to scale the done for you, the amount of complexity, the amount of operational aspects that comes into it when hitting 50, 100, 200K is insane. You're going to have 20, 30 plus team members, offices in person. You're going to have, very low margins, 40, 30%, and all these other things that come with it. And his advice to me was you need a more leveraged model. So what I learned from him was the function of an agency, the done for you, meaning you do the work for the clients, which is running Facebook ads for them, whether it's, helping them book meetings, whether it's anything on a done for you basis. The function of this is to learn the skills necessary. So learning how to deliver for your clients, learning how to book the meetings, learning how to do the sales calls, learning how to manage the team. And once you do this, then you qualify to move to the next leveraged model. So you would do this, the done for you, till around 30, 40, 50K per month. And then that's the time in which you transition to a more leveraged model. So what does leverage mean? It just means delivering the results in a way that requires less of your time, less of your energy, and is done by different forms of delivery, different systems. So an example is, instead of doing a done for you agency where you do everything for them, instead you take your systems, you package it up, and then you provide this in a sort of one-on-one coaching course, however you want to phrase it. It's all the same thing. And then you can do that to many more clients. You can provide for many more clients at the same time. Because, let's say your entire delivery is a course. Thousands and thousands of people can go through this at the same time without you having to do any additional work. So this is why you see all the big names in the space, they're not selling done for you things, right? Even Alex Hormozy, he started with done for you. He started with going into the gyms, doing the work for them, selling for them, booking meetings for them. And then he transitioned into packaging up these services and then selling it to gym owners as a packaged product. He just called it licensing. It's all the same thing. So the problem is that most people, they jump to this before actually getting good, right? Most of them, they get 5K, 10K, even 20K per month, and they want to jump to a coaching model, a leverage model. But the thing is, they don't have enough experience. So the business dies out. And this is why there's so many bad products in the space, because people see the appeal of it. And this is why, as a side note, this is why Charlie doesn't recommend this to everyone. He recommended it to me because I was further on in the space and I had some experience delivering results already. If you just started out and you try to do this, you'd be like, don't even think about it. It doesn't make sense. And you're just going to have a very difficult time selling. So what I'm saying now, if you're running an agency, I'm not telling you right now to just jump to the done with you model. It doesn't make much sense, because there's ways to do it. There's ways to add more leverage without you actually transitioning. The first way is obviously hiring a team to do a lot of this for you. But a lot of it also can be provided, in terms of your delivery, can be provided in a systemized, automated way. So for example, when I was still running the done for you agency, our entire onboarding, the process of getting a new client and giving them the stuff that they need, giving them an understanding of what we do, all of this is automated. But we made a funnel where it was, as soon as someone paid, they get added to the funnel, they watch the videos, they understand what we do, they fill in the resources, they get everything, and they get started. All of this is done without us. So this is an example of a leveraged model of doing things in the space. Another one is clients having constant questions, FAQs. They want to know about the tracking, the results of the campaigns. What we did was we made a dashboard where they can review these things in their own time, at any time, and get the things, the stats, the information that they want without us being there. So these are some examples of more leveraged ways. And this is what we give to our clients in the program right now, is that because they're still doing the done for you, they still want to add leverage, but they don't want to switch to the program yet. And I'm saying program a lot. When I say program the first time, I mean our program when we help agency owners to scale up. They don't want to switch to, having a course, having a actual, coaching program. So this is the second lesson that I learned from Charlie. Now, the third one is that getting to 1 million, getting to 100,000, getting to 10,000 per month is just a matter of simple math. Now, this seems like very common sense info, like something like, yeah, okay, it makes a lot of sense. But the way that Charlie does it is very, very different, in the sense that he just does it better than anyone else, right? All the people who I know in the space who have the biggest businesses, some making 10 million, 50 million, 100 million per year, they all have this level of detailed planning, of really getting into the numbers of what's required to get to their goals. And this allows them to have so much clarity on what needs to be done. And I'll give you an example practically. So when Charlie was explaining how he's going to get to 1 million a month, it wasn't a matter of, I'm going to be so motivated. I'm going to watch all these, Tate motivational videos, all these, Instagram reels. I'm going to feel so good and I'm going to scale up. There was no emotion involved at all. It was purely just, okay, $1 million per month. How many deals do I need to sign to get there? How much am I charging? And then for that, how many bookings do I need? How many messages do I need to send to get these bookings? All these things, it was just planned out. So I'll give you a very simple example because, 1 million is a big number. But if you're just looking at, let's say 10K per month. So 10K a month, let's say you need 5 clients, right? You charge 2K per month, you need 5 clients, that's 10K a month. That's where most people would stop. That's where I used to stop when I was first starting out. I didn't even do that much. I was just like, oh, I'm going to get to 10K a month. Someone would be like, how? I'll be like I'll do it. Like, I'll just work. I'll just hustle all day, all night. They'll be like, okay, cool. So how many messages do you need to send? So that's how to look at it, because let's say you want to get to 10K a month and you're charging 2K a month. Very simple. You would need 5 clients. Okay. So from there, what's your close rate? Okay. Out of, let's say, 10 calls with potential clients, how many do you close? Let's say 2. Perfect. So you close at 20%. So it takes you 5 calls to close 1 client. So in saying that, to close 5 clients, you need 25 calls. Done. So that's great. But now, the further you can go in terms of detail, the more likely the plan is to happen because you know exactly what to do. So let's say we need 25 calls to sign 5 clients at a 20% close rate, right? Stay with me, the math is not that complicated. And let's say, because some people don't show up to calls, right, a certain percentage isn't going to show up. So let's say 1 in every 5 calls isn't going to show. Fair enough, 20%. So you have an 80% show rate. So what we want to do is, let's say instead of trying to get 25 calls, let's try to get 30 calls. So this would account for the no-shows. So now we're going to aim to get 30 calls every single month or 30 calls in whatever period. And by doing this, we'll close 20%. And in doing this, we'll sign 5 clients at 2K a month. And now we're at 10K a month. So by doing this, by reverse engineering it, it becomes more real. And then you can even go a step further in that, okay, so I want to get 30 meetings. How many messages does it take to get 1 meeting? So let's say to get 1 meeting, it takes 100 outreach messages. So in order to get 30 bookings, that's going to be 3,000 messages. So now it's like, okay, cool. I need to send 3,000 messages. From there, I'm going to get this many bookings. I'm going to get this many shows, all that. And then it's like, okay, so if I want to do this in a 30-day period, how can I space it out so that, I can hit the target and I can get to the 10K? And it's like, okay, cool. 3,000 messages, divide that by, okay, I have 30 days in a month. And then it's, okay, cool. I send this many messages per day. So now you know every single thing that you would need. By doing these daily actions, you're going to get this many calls. Certain amount of people are going to show, certain amount of people are going to close, and a certain amount of these people are going to turn into clients. And then you do that 5 times and you're at 10K. So this is the level of detail that he's going into planning to get to the $1 million a month. So as you can imagine, there's a lot more variables, there's a lot more team members, a lot more expenses. And this is where business becomes more difficult because you're doing the same thing that you would do to get to 10K, but just on a level that's so much greater than what you would do usually. So now you understand it from a theoretical standpoint, right? You just want to take your goal, reverse engineer it, and do it as granularly as possible. But to give you some context into Charlie's plan, obviously I'm not going to give away everything, but his main growth methods is a combination of his YouTube, the inbound, and then the outbound as well. So doing outreach on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, potentially some WhatsApp too. And these combined, they're at around a 50-50 split between the two, right? Outbound and inbound. And by doing this, so the outbound would be, or ads would be a part of outbound. By doing this is his plan to reach the $1 million, right? It's very, very simple. He has one offer. He doesn't complicate things. He doesn't have an upsell or downsell, all these things. He has one offer, a couple acquisition methods, around 3, and then a team of around 12 to 20 to actually handle the entire business. And honestly, that's it. It's really just doing the basics, doing it extremely well, and doing it extremely consistently. And then making sure that you are the type of person that can actually handle that. Because if you get to 50K and all you want to do is just go clubbing and do all these other things and it distracts you from the business and your diet's terrible and your sleep's bad, you're not going to be able to maintain a business at that point. You're not going to be able to grow to that point. And what I would say is the last almost bonus point is that one of the biggest things that I learned from Charlie was you achieve the goal by becoming the type of person that is capable of achieving the goal, right? You don't work on the goal itself, you work on yourself. And by doing that, you'll just achieve the goal as a byproduct.